we're going to get started unless somebody objects. So, my name is Josh Meyer, and I'm the park director here in Sikeston. I've been working here for about 2 months, and you doing all right? Okay. So we've been working here for about 2 months, and I'm happy to be here in Sikeston. It's a great opportunity that I'm very gracious for. I'm going to just. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, too much interference.
Yeah, that's no problem. All right, so like I said, I've been here for about 2 months. Very happy to be here, and I'm proud to be a part of a community that does something like this. This doesn't happen in every community. It really, truly doesn't. Something to have a board to recognize people that dedicate their time and maybe even time away from family, and dedicate that time to the community. And involved in Parks and Rec and sports in general. What a wonderful thing for somebody to do, and I hope that everybody knows that we appreciate it dearly. It truly is what makes Parks and Rec good. We can throw programs, we can put on leagues, we can encourage the community, but if we don't have community involvement, it's all for naught. And today we get to recognize some people that not only got involved in their community, but went above and beyond. And really sacrifice their time for the community of Sikeston, and we thank them, dearly for that. So we have Dan Sutton, Randy Sims, and Dan Lancaster. And like I said, just to reiterate, these folks are what makes our community go around. Just like the 50 folks behind me on these plaques, again, which is just such a neat thing. I saw this early on, one of my first few days. We came down here, Jay and I drove down. We talked about this ceremony, and I remember going home and talking to my folks and saying, they asked me how my first few days were. I said, well, I think I'm in a good community. And they said, well, that's great. How do you know? I said, well, one of the small reasons is that they do things like this and really cherish those people. Because that's what we are. We're just a group of people that love on each other. I have one quote I want to read. It's very short. It's just, help one another. There's no time like the present, and no present like the time. And that's what the present was from Mr. Sims, Mr. Sutton, and Mr. Lancaster, was time. And time away from family, but time to help the community grow. And thank you very much for that. That truly was a present to us. And so we'll move on now. I'm going to say I'll be quick. I know we don't want to be here all day, but I'm going to read a few things about the submissions of our honorees today, and then I'm going to give them an opportunity to come up and get some pictures individually with their plaque. If you'd like to say a few words to the group, we're happy for you to. If you don't, that's okay. Don't feel any pressure to, but if you'd like to say a few words, that's great. But the first guy I'm going to speak about is Mr. Dan Sutton. All right, so Dan was nominated by Matt Sutton, his son, and Adam Russell. I believe another player for you. Is that right, Dan? And this is what they had to say about that. So Matt writes, Dad gave us so much of his time to the Sikeston Little League baseball and basketball programs, as well as Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts. He not only served as manager of many teams, but he also served in several administrative offices to the respective leagues. He's been greatly responsible for shaping the lives of many young men and women in the Sikeston area. He's been a great asset to the community, and I think he is highly deserving of this honor. Thank you for your consideration. That's an honor it is, and I was speaking with Dan a couple weeks ago. He came by, and he pointed me out. It was Jim Wilson. Jim Wilson got him into coaching in this community. He said his son was 2 or 3 years old. He hadn't started playing leagues yet, and Jim was Dan's insurance agent, and he came in and asked Dan, "Or do you like baseball?" Dan said, "Well, yeah, I like baseball a lot," because he's a smart man. And he said, "Well, would you like to coach?" Dan wasn't sure at first, but he walked out of the office with a hat and a clipboard, and the rest is history for Dan Southern. So we thank Dan, but we also thank Jim for getting Dan into coaching. Dan, if you want to come up and receive an award, get a picture, and like I said, if you want to say anything,
Hey, Josh.
yeah. Sure, that sounds good. Got it. And is there anybody, before I ask Dan if he wants to speak, is there anyone that wants to speak on Dan's behalf or anything? Again, no pressure, but if you'd like to, we want to provide that opportunity for you. Something would you like to say, Jim?
I'd like to say that it's an honor to be up here with these other names. A lot of them I coached with, and I know all of them personally, and some of them are gone. I had the privilege of working with and coaching with a lot of these folks. I'm a little bit selfish. I got more out of it, I think, than the kids did. But learned a lot from boys and girls that I coached, and wouldn't trade it for anything. It was fun. Do it again. When I first got out of coaching and I drive by this complex, the lights were on, I felt like something's wrong. I ought to be out there. But I appreciate this. It's a great honor. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, moving on, we're going to honor Mr. Wayman Sims. Wayman was nominated by Ty Tucker, who I believe is an official with you. Is that right, Wayman? Okay. Got to speak with Ty a little bit about Wayman and the impact that Wayman had on Ty, but not just Ty, the whole community, especially in the officiating world in several different sports. But I'll read real quickly what Ty had to say. Wayman has spent much of his time out at the ball fields and basketball courts officiating and umpiring games. He spent several years as a point of contact for the league to get umpires at games. He also spent time in the concession stands, which always is fun, right? He's gone above and beyond to help the kids in this community. Wayman and I have called many games together at the complex. I did because of him and was doing a favor for him. I don't know anyone more deserving to be honored more than Wayman. He would be able to tell you how many years he's done it. But the time he has done it, it hasn't gone unnoticed by the people of this community. We all echo that, Wayman. It hasn't gone unnoticed. I hope today is at least something a little bit that you can see that we do appreciate your time and value and just in the industry in general with officiating. We can't have sports without officials, and we sure can't run them properly without officials. Sometimes it's an unnoticed job, and they notice when you make mistakes, and everyone does make mistakes. But today, at least, and hopefully in the future, we notice you for just the time you put in and give.
I got it.
Would anybody like to say anything about Mr. Wayman?
Good home.
I didn't really prepare anything, but I seriously just thank you for this huge honor. I didn't get into this for accolades and things like that. It's more about making sure your kids want it. Blast doing it. Doing sports overall for about 30 years. So it's been fun. It's been challenging, but to watch your kids grow up and then I see their kids come along, it's been a huge honor. And this is, I was sitting there looking at some of these names, and there's only one or two up there I don't know. So to be up here with some of these folks is a big deal. So I really appreciate the honor. Thank you very much, guys.
Okay. Our last honoree is Mr. Jay Lancaster. Jay was nominated by Richard McGill, who I got to run into in Rose today. And so I'd like to read what Richard said about Jay and Jay's impact. So the impact Jay Lancaster has made on youth sports for more than 2 decades is astounding. For 20 consecutive years, Jay volunteered his time at youth softball and or baseball, always coaching both the regular season as well as the all-star teams, in addition also the travel teams. I witnessed him spending countless hours pouring into kids, teaching them not only the fundamentals of the sport, but also life lessons, something far too few coaches do. I agree with. Jay also assisted the Ruby family in founding and has been in charge of the Sikeston Wrestling Club, the USA/AAU youth wrestling program for grades 1st through 8th grade. While some may believe he did this because of his twin boys who are wrestlers, few do realize that he started the club before they were born and has continued to build and run the program for the last 4 years despite them not. That's been going on 22 years, Jay?
22 this year.
22 years. So he's built his legacy that has shown his children and other parents and athletes what a blessing time spent in giving back to area youth really means. Some great words there from Richard, and can agree with that sentiment. Jay's had a hard time with this award. I think he doesn't feel deserving sometimes. I think he values the people on this board a lot and the recipients today. But despite that, we got him to come out here. It's his birthday, and I told him a fun anecdote. I was counting up the number of people on the board today, and there's 50 on the dot. And if you go by when they were nominated, 51 was Mr. Sutton, 52 was Mr. Sims, and 53 was Jay, which he turns 53 today. So we finally got it. We did get Jay to come out here today. So Jay, if you come up and accept your anyone want to say anything positive or negative about Jay? If not, Jay, if you'd like to say a few words, take this time, please.
I did tell him that I did struggle with this because I work for the city. Never let that be construed as, I don't know, some sort of home cooking kind of thing. But I appreciate Richard. It's also Richard's birthday today. He's 53 today, too. It's hard to believe now that I coached 20 years in baseball and softball, and that was a true lesson. I always saw it for Richard. I graduated, didn't do it for any of this. I also want to make clear that while I've spent a lot of years with the wrestling club, it was the Ruby family's vision, and I just felt like I was played a support role to Danny back in those early years. I know some of his family's here, but now I'm on the other side of it. I get jokingly referred to as a CEO, even though I don't feel like I really do much at all. I just kind of help things move in the background. A lot of you have been supporters of it. But I'm very thankful to Josh. I'm very thankful to the park board. Very thankful to Richard. I have one last thing I want to say, and this is just something that means something to me. Because I work for the city, because I never really thought about this being something for me, it didn't cross my mind a lot. something to me to be there with them. So thank you to everybody that was involved.
Well, thank you guys so much for attending. Thank you so much to our honorees today. Just so well deserving. I maybe new, but I'm getting to learn about these three men and their stories, and couldn't be more proud to be up here today honoring these guys. So thanks for coming. Thanks to our Parks Board for going through these evaluations and these applications and choosing deserving recipients year in and year out. And thanks for all that attended. Anyone, I know Jeff Hayes here. Is there anyone else here that is on the board?
Rod Anderson's here.
Mr. Anderson, thank you.
Jason Davis.
Jason.
Jason Davis.
Jason Davis, thank you. Well, that concludes it for us, guys. I'm going to leave these plaques up here for if your families want to come up with you and take pictures with them. We debated on screwing them into the wall before this event, but I thought it might be neat for you guys to take pictures with them. And then when you're finished with it, just please leave it back up here, and we'll screw them in, and they'll be on here forever. So thanks for your impact, and thanks for coming today.